Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome to the video. This time is of the SH Figuarts Street Fighter in Bison, aka Vega, aka Vega is in Bison. All the same shit to me, but the point is we're reviewing the guy. So let's get started. Now, the thing about Vega is that we already know what we're getting in this guy. At least, you have an idea. Knee press, nightmare, all that good jazz, Psycho Crusher. Now, the thing about this is we are now getting Bandai's version of him, whereas we've gotten it very early on with some collectibles. They got him right out of the way. They've done two versions of him. Now, I would not be reviewing the size comparison. We know that the Storm stuff is already bigger. I will review a Storm size figure next to it, but at this point, I don't see the point in doing that. I just think it's ridiculous. But anyway, so gotta say, this guy absolutely is good. So if you are collecting SHF Street Fighter stuff and you feel like it goes better scale wise or other stuff, the answer to that would, in my opinion, would be yes. It does scale better with certain stuff, but you may want to do some other things, or you may have a certain taste, a particular liking to something, and that's totally fine to collect either one or both. But with that also being said is, SHF is going for a more definitive look, and so is Storm, but at least they're doing battle costumes and different variations. With these guys, they are sticking to their scale, which means I feel like he's a little smaller than what he should be. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the all good stuff of articulation and look. Gotta say, this guy does look really good. He functions pretty well too, and I'll get into that right now. Now we have our shoulder pads, which actually rotate out, and they are on ball joints, so they can actually rotate up a little bit as well too before you pop them out, which is really, really good. We have our standard, he can look up, he can look down, and he is on the standard SHF fighting body, which is known for with the Kaneko Man and Street Fighter line. And we actually can get a little bit of tilt as well too, and he has really good joints. Now, as far as our arms go, we are on, again, the fighting body, but a different kind of style. So you can actually rotate the arm out. There is a joint here that allows you mobility and a secret bicep swivel. I know some people don't like this bicep swivel, but it is a very good design. We can rotate our midsection for our forearm as well, but you can only rotate it up on the double joint like this when it is faced in the normal arm position. That being said, you also get your standard SHF joint. And as far as the ab crunch area, we actually get a very nice forward ab crunch, which is very good, especially if you want to do knee press nightmare. And we have a nice backwards swivel as well. Can't go as really far back as we'd like, simply because this torso part, it sits really low. So as soon as you bend backwards, it's going to be met right there. So keep that in mind. As far as our leg articulation goes, we can go outward pretty far, but not do a complete split. We can rotate forward, and our knees are on a singular joint, but have a cut groove in here, so that way the leg can fold in much better. We also have a very nice and generous ankle pivot, and a little bit of button motion, as well as a toe pivot as well too. Now again, like I said, this is all good and dandy on the fighting body. I wish it would go a little further. Like for instance, there is a cut inside here, because there is a thigh cut, that when rotating it in, once it's met at that top of that V joint, it won't go up any higher. So you have to rotate outward and then rotate upward to get that true look on it. So as you can see here with the fold down, you actually get a nice look. Now, with all that being said, this is a very nice and dandy figure. I just feel like it falls short for what SHF is calling the fighting body. And the reason why that is because they have done a lot of stuff Kaneko Man wise, and I have bought every single Kaneko Man, that this kind of just falls short in terms of that look. But the sculpt is actually amazing. So you are sacrificing some you're sacrificing some articulation for its said sculpt. That way they can get a very good definitive look out of him. But again, I kind of wanted more articulation than the aesthetic. With that being said though, they did a good job. Also because of his gimmick, which I'm going to do right now, which I think is very dangerous when pulling out arm sockets. I never like doing this kind of stuff. The arm swap, no matter what company it is. So you're going to actually rotate these arms out. And I'd suggest you highly heat it up. I was doing a dangerous way of not doing that. And then you have these arms here. These actually can fold right up onto themselves, right? When you plug them in. I would suggest you do it this way, one by one. You plug in, and I may not get this right the first couple times because I'm always scared of breaking something, but I got it in that time, thankfully. Minus the fact that, yes, there is a butterfly joint here. It goes upward, and it goes and rotates in as well too. So when you want to do the folded arms, you actually meet them here. Let me get this. Oh, there it is. I hate doing these. And this is just me. I know other people might hate it as well too. But I really hate doing these because if you don't hear that pop, you're always worried it's either going to fall out or break because you are applying way too much pressure to that joint. So I'm just going to be as careful as I could possibly be on camera without breaking a toy because I've done it before. I have definitely done that before. There we go. So let's pop this back on right on top of that ball joint. Voila. And now we have our crossed arm technique. It took me a minute, but I managed to get it there and it looks pretty good. So then you can actually look really pressed about wanting to destroy someone, you know? This is the look that she gives you when she's mad at you, right? Now, we also have that little bit of wiggle here too as well too. So now that I've covered all that and switched the arm joint out, what I am going to do is talk about the other stuff that he comes with as well. We have these nice and dandy arms. You also get 2 closed fists, right? Those are all dandy. And you get 2 psycho power effects. These actually cling into the hands. I think I have the wrong one for each hand. There we go. Which can be held pretty easily and have no problem being held. Again, I really like this. I really do. And you get 1 of each flame, like I said, for each hand. You also get only 1 other expression, which is his natural grin face when he's destroying you with that knee press nightmare or kicking you on top of your head by standing on top of it. You already know what move I'm talking about, y'all. Y'all know exactly what move I'm talking about. Now, gotta honestly say, even though he falls short in the articulation department for me, he actually looks really fantastic. And that's one of those things where I kind of fall victim to, and it works out well for kind of doing pictures. But again, if this is not your aesthetic, it's not really for you, you don't like that fighting body, you prefer the storm stuff, that's totally fine too. Now, height-wise, I'm going to get into that in a second when we start doing the sock comparisons, which is going to come right now. Now, all that jazz, what I am going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is use one of my Soda Street Fighters, one of the few that I have left, and I do have the actual guy he's changed names with. So, Bison, meet Bison. And as you can see, the Soda stuff is actually much bigger. The SHF is much smaller. This is a domestic. Well, yeah, this is domestic. This would be import. And as you can see, size-wise, he falls short. And that's okay because it's an import figure. But when you compare him up to someone like Akuma, although bigger, he's not significantly bigger. So this is kind of crazy, right? So I feel like he's a little too short. But most of the time, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But he does scale pretty well with other SHF. I just feel like he should have been a little bigger in general. Now, also because we have this super tall guy here, another person who has been switched names with, whose name is Balrog in Japan, but Vega over here in the States. And these guys are around the same height, which I think this actually falls pretty close in the proper range. He's a slight bit taller, so I think this works out. Next up, we have Cammy. And I chose Cammy because she was once former Shadow Lu as she was brainwashed. And again, when you look at this size, it all fits together for SHF. It's when you think about him with the top 4 bosses, I get a little worried. Like Sagat. Sagat should be gigantic no matter what scale he's in. And I really hope SHF doesn't ruin that. Right? Next up, we're going to compare him to some other stuff. So here he is with an articulated icons ninja, which, as I said, I think he fits in pretty well here. Here he is with a Marvel Legends Captain America. Again, fits in really well here. So it's weird that he just feels so out of place by being just a little too short to me. But maybe I'm just nitpicking or it's just bothering me for some apparent reason. Because the more I put him next to other stuff, the more I'm like, well, maybe I'm tripping. And I probably am. So here he is next to a synthetic human carp. And now that I'm thinking about it, dog, he looks stumpy as hell when in fighting games fighting. So maybe I am tripping. So I'm going to let it slide and let it go as the more I go on. Here he is next to an SHF Kamen Rider, the Ozgata Kiriba combo. Next up, we have a Mezco Mi. Right? And yeah, I was wrong. I'm going to admit it. Size-wise, he actually just fits in, and I am just tripping. Because the more I look at it compared to other stuff, he's fine. Here he is next to a Lightning Collection Red Ranger. And last but not least, we are going to cover a Storm. And here he is next to a Shin Goki, aka Shin Akuma. And like I said, he's not even all that much bigger than him. So in reality, he does fit in, and I was bugging. So I'm going to admit my fault here and say I was bugging throughout the video. By the end of it, I came to my senses. He actually is a pretty good height, and he works out pretty well. I just wish I had a little bit more articulation. Overall, though, solid piece. Hopefully, we'll get more and more Street Fighters going forward, because I've actually been thoroughly enjoying the line. Even I don't talk as much about it, but it is a very good line. That fighting body, man, it goes a long way. Last but not least, forgot. Here's a Mythic Legions Fury Orc. So yeah, he even scales pretty well with the Mythic Legion stuff. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed. This one has been a little bit more down to earth and chill as I got into just blabbering. But I hope you enjoyed. Hope you found informative as always. There I go, rubber mouth. But as always, be good, do good, drink your water. Later.